Where in the world are you?
I'm in Malta, so it's bedtime here. I was
Oh,
doing the watching of the webinar while my kids were asleep.
wow. Is that where you're from?
Hmm.
Aw, that's so awesome. So I just wanted to take a sec, first of all, to say thank you for taking the time to look through it. And second of all, I really want to be able to, as a thank you to people who are willing to take the time to give them something that's actually useful to them. And so, as opposed to just throwing you something, I wanted to just take a couple minutes to ask you a little bit about you, what you're working on, what do you want to be working on, what's been tough, and obviously in 10 minutes we won't really be able to get through much, but it's useful for me to know like what points people are stuck at or what feels difficult, because I meet a lot of people, I have a lot of resources, and if there's something that I can send your way that would be useful to you, it would be my pleasure.
Okay.
So why don't you give me a tiny little background about you, what you've tried and worked on before, and what you would like for yourself.
So a lot of work, but always as an employee.
Okay.
So I was paid by the company, and clients were not necessarily voluntary, because these are people who are underperforming,
Right.
and it was my job to get them up to speed, motivate them, drive, whatever, or sack,
Mhm.
depends on the case.
Mhm.
So I know that I have a track record, I know that I have good results.
Right.
Um, but I don't know how to do it for myself. I don't know how to be my own boss. I don't know how to have the discipline and the confidence and the drive. Um, I'm afraid of being authentic.
Mm.
This list is never going to stop. I can spend 10 minutes telling you what I can't do. Um, I've done courses, as I explain in your answers. One courses, because I got pregnant in each course,
Yeah.
which isn't ideal. Because obviously enough, your hormones go all over the place. You don't feel as confident. You don't feel as strong. So my experience of trying to launch or become an entrepreneur has always been a bad one. Not a bad one, because I was pregnant, which is great. But I never got I never got to see the results.
Mhm.
I only ever got to spend money. I never reap a reward.
Mhm.
Um, so I've tried to, because of what I used to do, I tried my hand at becoming a confidence coach.
Mm.
But I never stuck with it. It didn't resonate. Then when I did the second course, which was one-to-one for 6 months, I thought I'd go into career coaching, because I had helped a lot of people get promotions and get better jobs and better salaries. Um, but when you see things like something you can talk about for 30 minutes or something that you can spend your life doing, I couldn't see that either.
Mhm.
Um, Recently, because obviously enough, I'm a fairly new mom, I was interested in some kind of parent coaching, parenting skills,
Right.
parenting confidence, whatever parents feel they lack.
Right.
But the reality is, from my experiences, experience teaches you everything you need.
Mm.
Um, and there's no way of preparing, no matter how many skills and how many things I knew beforehand. You need to live it to kind of. But I know that not everyone has my background, um, because a lot of people ask me questions about how do you deal, how do you handle.
Mm.
Um, so I know that I give them answers, because obviously enough, if I didn't give good answers, people wouldn't ask again. So it's something that's bouncing in my head at the moment. So this is what
Mhm.
I waste my time on, guessing who I want to work with.
Hmm. Interesting. So, tell me, what motivated you to want to be an entrepreneur?
Um, to be able to spend time with my family. At the moment, I'm not working, to be with the kids.
Right.
I have another 2 years, which for the next 2 years I afford to not work. But I know that as soon as those 2 years are up, I have to find a job.
Mhm.
But that creates difficulties with Christmas holidays, Easter holidays, summer holidays. If the kids are ill, um, I don't know what to do. So I wanted the flexibility of being there for my family and providing for the family, And if I make all these 5-figure, 6-figure people talk about, probably get my husband of his horrific job.
Right. So it seems like you would like to move away from some things that are painful. Is there something that excites you, not just about the money that you get, but the kind of work that you would be doing?
I love helping people. I've
Yeah,
done it all my life.
right.
I'd love to be, and I help people. I just don't, is the bottom line.
You just don't say it again. Sorry, it's cutting out.
I help people.
You
Sorry,
help.
I help people. I just don't get paid for it.
Right, right. Okay, well, there's some good news. The good news is that people find your help valuable enough that they keep coming back for it, right? And do you know that
Yes.
the same kind of advice that people are willing to pay for with some people, they're not willing to pay for with some people, and it's all dependent on whether or not you believe that you deserve to be paid for your advice, right? And I'll give you an example. So I'm one of four sisters, right? And and so my mom is an entrepreneur, and she taught me a lot. And I really found her advice very valuable and meaningful, so I took it. But a lot of the time, your family members, as much as you want to help them, you can give them all of the advice that you would give your clients for thousands of dollars. You give it to your family, they don't want it, right? And so the exact same thing to different people is worth different amount depending on if they really want it or not, right? And so, you know, there are some people who are, trust me, in a worse position that they don't even know how to help other people. They don't even know what kind of value they can give other people, right? So I've started with some people that, you know, they say, I don't even know if I'm an authority. I don't know if I'm valuable, right? But people keep coming to you for a reason. And so, you know, it's funny. All of this business stuff, there's a lot of logistics, there's a lot of figuring out the tactics. But the truth is, at the end of the day, I intuitively feel that you're quite hard on yourself. Is that right?
I am.
Yeah. And I understand it. A lot of the most amazing achievers are hard on themselves. I can be hard on myself too sometimes, but there's a fine line. You want to be hard enough on yourself that you motivate yourself to work, but not so hard on yourself that you discourage yourself and make yourself think that it's impossible. And it's so funny because in a lot of ways, me and you, we live in the same reality, right? And yet, it seems that when you look around, all the doors are closed. And for me, when I look around, I see actually all the doors are open. And so it's funny. A lot of the time, yes, it's based on our experiences, but it's also partially on what we're willing to see. And trust me, I understand what it's like to like be burned by experiences before and be like, I never want to do that again. Like I've had like love experiences where I'm like, ugh, I don't want to do that again, or whatever. We've all had those kinds of experiences. But I would lovingly recommend to you that you're going to see what you choose to see. And if you choose to see what's not possible, trust me, we can find all I'm not saying that it's excuses. Like the things that you've been through are real, right? The things I've been through, some very painful things too. And if I wanted to, I could say like, I can't do it because of blank, 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 you know? It's so funny because this webinar that you just watched, I had a whole different webinar before for a whole different offer, had like 48 versions of it. I did it live so many times, all these things, right? Now I'm working on a whole new one. I'm on version 18. And so, a lot of success has to do with emotional skills and, as you know, confidence and just a willingness to persist, you know? And so I would also suggest that all of the things that you've done that felt like they didn't work have added some benefit to you that perhaps you don't see the benefit right now, but over time, like you have valuable experiences, you know? It's funny, like for example, there were a lot of things in my entrepreneurial journey because we don't have a roadmap. It doesn't matter how many coaching programs you do. Every person is different, just like parenting, right? So you can't have a clear roadmap. There are so many things that I did that were like not in the right order, but were still useful. For example, I went on this like journey to making a website a couple years ago, right? And I had this person who was making my website for me. Halfway through, I was like stalling the project. And I was stalling the project because I realized I didn't know what my offers were, right? And so it's like, well, how can you have a website that's just to brand you, but it's not designed around your offers, not designed to sell, right? So I literally, even though I had a very expensive, talented woman at my disposal who was willing to make this website for me, I wasn't clear on my offers. And so I wasn't able to continue with her, right? And you might think, oh, that was a waste of time, that wasn't useful, whatever. First of all, it gave me a benefit because it showed me what my problem was, which was I wasn't clear on my offer. 2, I got a lot of awesome branding stuff out of it that I still use. 3, I actually was able to help her with her sales calls. And that was a really good practice for me, right? And so sometimes you go for one benefit and you don't get the benefit that you think that you wanted, but you get other benefits. And the difference between you getting those other benefits or not is whether or not you're willing to say, oh, I got other benefits from it, right? And so I would just give you like one tiny little piece of homework for today, because trust me, what you're looking for, you'll find. And I have a sneaking suspicion that part of you wants to confirm this is not possible for me. Because if you confirm it's not possible for me, then you don't have to work, you don't have any responsibility, and you can just be one of those stories of, it just didn't work, right? It relieves us of the pain of still trying, and I understand it's painful. Trust me, I understand. But if you are open and interested, and you still want this, and that's the thing, you're not 100% decided if you want it or not, right? Like part of you wants it.
I've convinced myself not to want it anymore over the last few years.
Exactly, because it doesn't seem doable, doesn't seem possible. So it's better to just say it's not possible than the discomfort of, well, if it is possible, but I'm not getting it, then what's going on? And how do I have to take responsibility? And how do I have to change my behavior? That's painful and that's hard, right? And so I would just say a couple questions worth asking yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you want it bad. And if you don't want it, then accept it and move on. But this purgatory, this in-between, is painful. It's really painful because it's like, you have this desire, but you're also saying no to yourself. And so actually what that does over time is it makes you feel like the things you want are impossible. Well, the good news is that you're choosing it. You're choosing that it's not possible. And so if you would like to choose that it is possible, that opportunity is available for you as well, but it's not easy either. But the way it's going right now is not easy anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would just recommend you got to decide, do you want this or not? There's some people, myself included, that this is the path, period. Because I've had so much pain in my life that sometimes you need a high level of pain and a high level of discomfort to keep a fire under your ass. Like if you ask any of my sisters, any of my boyfriends, whatever, what does Paloma want? They'll say she never stops talking about her webinar, stop talking about automating sales, blah, 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 blah. And so I might not be there yet in terms of sales automation, but I know that that's what I think about all day long. And so you have to ask yourself, do I want it or do I not want it? And you'll find some peace in
Commit.
What do you say? Say it again.
It's the one stage I'm missing. Commit.
Yeah.
Commit. I need to commit to whatever I decide.
Yeah. And by the way, it's okay if entrepreneurship is not for you. It's okay. Like I know that we have so much rhetoric online about like jobs are evil, quit the 9 to 5. But there are some people who are happier in jobs and they feel more peaceful knowing that they have a stable income. And you don't have to shame yourself if that's your truth. But maybe your truth is that you really do want this and you're kind of afraid of failing, you know? But it's up to you. It's not a discussion between me and you. It's a discussion between you and yourself. Do I want this? That's one. That's homework number 1. And then homework number 2 is every single thing that happens to you in this life, whether it seems good or bad, you need to ask yourself, what is the lesson and what is the blessing in this? And if you can really fast, as soon as it happens, ask yourself what's the lesson or blessing, then you will get the rewards. I think of it like this. If you go to a party, you know when you leave with like a loot bag, they give you like some candies, blah, 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 when you leave. You have to give yourself the loot bag when you leave an experience, right? So like even when I'm trying to think of like, okay, so I've had some health challenges in my life, a lot of health challenges, right? And recently I had a doctor's appointment and they're like, yeah, one side of your like lymph nodes are swollen and like it might be okay or it might be not okay. And we have to figure out in 6 more weeks, test again, right? Well, that's kind of terrifying, right? And so instead, like most people wouldn't be grateful for that. They'd be like, fuck this is painful, I hate it. I hope I can just find the answer, right? And I do feel like that too, like I'm human. But I also ask myself, what is the lesson or blessing here? And the blessing and the lesson is life is filled with uncertainty. Embrace uncertainty and keep taking good care of yourself. Keep going to those doctor's appointments even when it's nerve-wracking, you know? And the people who are going to win are the people who very quickly say, what's the good? What's the good? What's the good? And right now, because you're not really fully committed to doing this, you're saying, what's the bad? What's the bad? What's the bad? So you can justify not doing it. But you don't have to work so hard to justify not doing it. If you don't want to do it, you're free. And you don't have to. But if you do want to do it, and it all depends on if you want to do it or not, if you do want to do it, it will benefit you more to say what's the good rather than what's the bad. And so it's just a simple practice. But as soon as you get into that practice, the benefits are humongous and you start to see good and possibility everywhere. How does all that sound to you?
It's true. I know it's true because it's the only thing I think about. And the fact I told myself I need to give myself a break or I'm going to burn out.
Yeah.
And yet all I do is scroll through Facebook and look at other people's success.
Are you open to potentially changing that?
So I feel like I another one. And for 2 weeks I told my husband. Sorry,
it just cut out for a sec. Keep going. You told your husband?
it cut out.
Yeah.
So I told my husband I don't want to replace my phone because I need to stop looking at Facebook. And they were the best weeks of my life. And then obviously enough, because I do run a small local business for children, Messy Play, I needed my phone back. I needed a smartphone because people contact me all the time.
Right.
So yeah, I need to get it out of my head because it's killing me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Good for you. I know it's nerve-wracking to even talk about these things to someone else. Like, trust me, I know a lot of those people who are like posting online about all their successes. I'm not saying their successes are not true. I'm just saying that you don't see the behind the scenes of the pain. Every human in this life is going through pain. I don't care like what fancy vacation you're on, you still take yourself and your baggage with you, right? And I know a lot of these awesome influencers, and they are smart and they are successful, they are wonderful, but they're also going through pain. They're just not really broadcasting it online, right? And so you don't have to feel like, oh, I suck and I'm sitting at home doing nothing and these people are out there succeeding. It's not that simple. There are times that there are awesome influencers who are also trying to figure out what the hell am I supposed to do today? How should I be productive? They feel crappy about themselves some days. That's a human thing, you know? But I think once you ask yourself that fundamental question, am I going to do this or am I not going to do this? And be really honest with yourself. Don't do what you think that you should do. Do what your heart tells you, right? But if you decide that you do want to, then just ask yourself, is this behavior serving me? Like, I actually put something on my Facebook. It's called Newsfeed Eradicator. And it's basically just a Google Chrome extension, but it removes your Facebook feed. So when you go to Facebook, you can message people, but it doesn't show you the feed anymore. And that's because I don't really care what other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
I have my goals for the day and I'm going to achieve them, right? And so as soon as you commit, but not commit like just in words, but like in your heart and in your emotions, and you really feel like you really can do this, even as hard as it is to climb a mountain, you can still do it, right? Then it will change your behaviors, because trust me, I know what it's like to like feel jealous of other people's success, you know, but it doesn't help you. And everyone's on their individual journey. You know, we've all asked ourselves, why is XYZ taking so long? You know, but what you're going through at this point in your life is very human. It's very normal. And it's actually part of the entrepreneur's journey. And so,
And yet nobody talks about it.
yeah, because it doesn't really.
And this is where I've stopped buying from people.
Yeah.
Because the first person portrayed it as, I'm going to finish her course and I'm going to be successful. The second person, I resonated with on a different level. And as you were saying, I didn't get what I went in for. I didn't get any paying clients. But I got freedom from a lot of things. So that was fine, because she did advertise herself as a freedom coach.
Right.
But this is it. I now want one person, and I've not found one yet, who will slap me in the face and tell me, this is what it's really like. Forget what you see. This is how much it's going to hurt. Because I don't like going into things, and I feel now that life has lied to me from start to finish. And obviously enough, life didn't actually lie to me. But even parenthood and motherhood and sending kids to school and all of this, nobody talks about the truth. And maybe I'm learning it at the right time, but it irks me that everybody talks about fantastic results, and because I can make up stories with the results I got. I got people from on the verge of leaving to now they're four or five grades higher than they were.
Right.
But I only did one little thing in that person's life. They've done the work. That didn't make sense. I didn't manage to convey what I wanted to say. But yes, all these people paint pretty pictures, and unless I find someone who's going to tell me no, entrepreneurship isn't pretty, I'm not going to buy.
Yeah.
And you don't. Everybody talks about results.
Yeah.
I want the person who talks about all the failures that you need to go through.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'll leave you with one last nugget. And if you take it seriously, it can change your life. And if you don't take it seriously, it'll just be another day. When I start working with a new client, and if I hear them, and can I be 100% honest with you? And this, you take it with love. Do I have your permission to? Okay. When you outsource your responsibility to other people, when everything has been done to you, this person did this wrong, my husband did this coach lied to me, the school lied to me, society lied to me, all these things, then you put yourself in victim mode. And I'm not saying that we aren't in some ways victims of life and society. It's true, we are in some ways, but it doesn't serve you. And so as soon, like I've had new clients that I've worked with, and I almost fired them as clients because it felt like they weren't taking responsibility for themselves. And life will always suck when nothing's your fault. But life will be amazing. Still painful. But life can be painful and amazing. My life's painful and amazing. Life will be amazing when you take responsibility for things. And so I would suggest, before you even make your decision of if you actually want to do this or not, ask yourself, what is my responsibility in all of the things that I've experienced? What is my responsibility in working with these coaches that I felt like I didn't get results with? In what ways do you take ownership? In what ways do you take responsibility for your own outcomes and for your own results? And it's a painful, hard question. I wouldn't ask you to ask yourself if I hadn't asked myself. Trust me. I've had all kinds of experiences. I'm like, damn, that didn't go my way. And the first thing that I do after I like sulk a bit and feel bad for myself a bit is say, Paloma, what was your responsibility in this? And so it's empowering. It's so empowering. That's what my mom taught all of us 4 girls. What was your responsibility in this? And it might be a question that you haven't asked yourself before because it's a painful question, but it's worth it. Because the thing is, you are very, 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 very fucking powerful. You are. Whether you accept it or not, whether you accept your power and authority or not, you are powerful because you're alive and you're a human. And you speak English, and you have access to a computer, and you know how to use the internet. You have a lot of privileges and advantages. And so you got to ask yourself, what is my responsibility in all this? Because as soon as you take responsibility, then you're powerful moving forward. And so you can take that with a grain of salt and say, okay, fuck you, Paloma. That's fine. You can. Or you can say, you know what? It's true. I am powerful, and I did have a role to play in these decisions. And maybe what it does is makes you a more critical consumer, which it seems to have done. Or maybe it teaches you some realities of life, that not everything that glistens is gold. Or maybe it teaches you that we're all humans doing our best in this life, or whatever it teaches you. But if you ask what's the lesson or blessing, you'll get it. And if you ask, why is this another piece of proof that the world has screwed me over? It's just like you Google a question in your brain, you'll get the answer. So you might want to Google different questions, like, what is my responsibility? How is this a lesson or blessing? And am I really committed to this or not? And then free yourself if it's not, or dig in if it is. That's what I would say. And last thing I'll say is, with the whole niche thing, it doesn't fucking matter right now for you. You don't have to worry about niche. Like that for me is something I see it slowing so many people down. I didn't know my niche when I started working for myself when I was 19 years old, and I couldn't have foreshadowed that. The people that I worked with were like Chinese students from Toronto who were immigrants, who were in engineering, who wanted to go into finance, and I was coaching them on communication skills. I could never have in a million years pulled that demographic out of thin air and be like, oh, these are my people. I knew what my talents and my skills were. I put myself out there as, I can help people with this. And then I saw who was attracted to my work. Then of the people who are attracted to your work, then the selection comes, and you get to decide of these people, because you can help. I'm sure there's 10 to 15 different kinds of people you could help. Same with me, right? Well, that's where you get to be selective about who you work with. But it starts off with attracting people based on your gifts and your talents. So you don't have to worry so much about niche. And I think that's a big myth that slows people down. That's something for way later in your business. Once you've worked with many, 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 many clients, you start to see patterns. Then you can reverse engineer it and say, this is my ideal customer. What do you think?
I think what you said last makes a lot of sense.
Good. I'm glad. Well, I really want to send you love. And the thing is, I'm a pretty perceptive person. And I think that you're way fucking smarter than you've been making yourself out to be. I think you're way more capable than you've been making yourself out to be. I think you're a little bit butthurt and a little bit annoyed and a little bit cynical and in pain, which is okay. But like, it's like when you have like, you scrape your arm and it hurts. I understand it hurts, but like, how long do you want to cry over it? It's up to you. It's up to you how long you want to cry over it. And if you want, you can spend the rest of your life crying over it. Or you could say,
I love my, so parting with all that cash.
What do you say?
Is a bit more than a scratch. I love my money, so parting with all that cash was a bit more than a scratch. So yes, I don't disagree with your last observation.
I understand that. It's okay. It's what I call an expensive lesson. You know? It's okay. I've had many very expensive lessons in my life too. It just means that you're getting out. Like, honestly, you got to pat yourself on the back. Because there are a lot of people who don't do anything because they think it's safer. Like, you took some risks. Good job. Entrepreneurs take risks. It's good.
Expensive risks.
Expensive risks, expensive lessons. It's okay. It's okay. Anyways, my dear, I hope that this landed for you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Useful. My pleasure. I really appreciate the people in our community, and I want to keep putting on entrepreneur parties to get people together and form communities so we can talk about the real stuff that affects all of us. And last thing that I'll ask you is it cool if I share this recording in our group? Because I think other people will be helped by it too.
Okay.
Okay, darling. Yeah. Okay. And I hope that you'll really, can you make this like promise to me for the next week? Just for the next week. Can you ask yourself at least once a day, what is the biggest lesson or blessing I got today for 1 week?
Okay.
Just try it and see what happens, and tell me at the end of the week how it felt. Maybe you thought, oh, that was stupid for the whole week. That's fine. But just ask yourself, what was the biggest lesson or blessing I got today? And extra points if it was something that seemed negative, but it had a lesson or it had a blessing in it. Is that cool?
Okay.
Okay, darling. I'm sending you a big hug from Toronto.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a good one, love.
Bye-bye.
Bye.